Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter. Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter, and welcome to Goldilocks Global Banking News. I am your host. Folks, today Goldilocks is sharing some very important insight on the regulations in the banking system that protect our money, protect our currencies in the new banking system. New laws that continue to go into place. Also, I will touch briefly on the Central Bank of Iraq announcing that the IQD to US dollar exchange rate will not change. Let's jump right into what Goldilocks is sharing today. First, on the protection of our money in the banking system and our currencies. What Goldilocks is sharing is that there are additional protections that are going into law, filed into the Federal Register to protect our money in the new banking system. We have seen several banks fall in the last several years, Goldilocks is stating, but the people's money have remained intact. The standards of Basel III have been brought into the U.S. banking system to strengthen capital, meaning the money in the banks. While Basel III, which focuses on higher capital buffers, it also focuses on resolution. Banks are heavily consolidating their operations through mergers and acquisitions. And this refers to business structure. They also consolidate customers' funds across currencies to optimize liquidity and reduce forex volatility. If you've been paying attention in Iraq, does this not sound familiar? Reduce forex volatility. Many have got wind or saw the post out of Iraq yesterday in regards to the Central Bank of Iraq and also various news outlets in Iraq where they made public references and press releases about the DINAR exchange rate. For example, one of those directly from the CBI states, the dollar exchange rate will not change. Another news outlet stated the DINAR exchange rate will not change to fight volatility. So, and what Goldilocks just shared about the protections in the banking system, and it states, in order for currencies to optimize their liquidity and reduce forex volatility. Folks, this is speaking of the global banking system and fighting off volatility. This is the same thing Iraq just stated with the DINAR exchange rate that they said would not change. I'm going to briefly explain this so you understand. What that is referring to, ladies and gentlemen, is within Iraq and their banking system, there are measures to assure that the Iraqi dinar does not drastically lose value, so that it does not drastically tank. How do they do that? How do they make sure it doesn't? The dinar rate doesn't tank, doesn't go into the dirt? They stabilize it with reforms. They stabilize it by publicly letting it be known through the channels like the CBI and media outlets, by stating the dinar exchange rate will not change. What that means, folks, let me tell you what it does not mean first. It does not mean that the dinar exchange rate will remain frozen or at its existing rate forever. No. That is not what it means. What it means is that they have made a public statement to state that the rate where it's at now is stable and will not move at the present moment. It's an update to state this is where we are at. The exchange rate is stable. We will not change it to make any drastic measures to fight off the volatility, the manipulation in the illegal currency market in Iraq. This is just an update to say, hey, all is well with the dinar. We don't need to devalue it. We have the ability to stabilize the exchange rate. We will not change it. That is not speaking of the future. It's speaking of the present. In order to just stabilize the dinar. Switzerland did this several years ago. Made this announcement several years ago publicly. Mexico, publicly. Various countries and their central banks will periodically publicly state that their exchange rates against the dollar will not change, but they are stable. Why? That has nothing to do with an international rate. It's only regarding the local currency market of Iraq, so that the speculators, the manipulators, cannot get an upper hand on the exchange rate of the dinar within Iraq, the exchange rate of the US dollar as well. So I'm going to reiterate this to give you a little more insight. All that was from the Central Bank of Iraq stating that the dinar and the exchange rate will not change. It's stating that the dollar exchange rate will not change to the dinar. That is a sign of stability, beautiful people. This is what you want. You want a central bank and their currency to formally state our currency is stable at its current rate. So as they implement their reforms, they continue to implement their reforms. They continue to follow the steps that the IMF, the U.S. Treasury, the World Trade Organization has given them. Then they will be able to stabilize the dinar at a higher rate. Think of it as a step ladder or steps, stepping up. You have to step onto the current step. Make sure your foot is planted stable before you take the next step. That's all they're doing. That's all this announcement is. Now I will continue. Stay with me. Gold and silver. See, many people have the propensity to ignore what's happening with gold and silver and precious metals, to think it's not connected to the dinar or the dong or any other currencies. Well, it is. See, right now, gold and silver, Goldilocks is stating, is that they're entering a phase of sustained upward pressures, driven by ongoing central bank accumulation of gold, heightened geopolitical tensions, and the ditching of the US dollar from countries around the world. Many of you probably heard the Mark Rubio recent update to state how Brazil and all these countries are partnering up. And we won't be able to put sanctions on these countries. They're going to use their own currencies. You should give Mark Rubio a standing ovation for telling you this is how the revaluation of currencies occur. Where countries utilize their own currencies, this is where the values of their currencies go up. Because they are ditching the US dollar. See, these global dynamics with gold, when these countries are backing their currencies with gold, these dynamics indirectly influence global currency exchange rates through a weaker US dollar. These countries are ditching the dollar. See, Goldilocks is sharing is that a persistency that's occurring with strong gold rally often correlates with a weaker US dollar. And that correlates to stronger foreign currency rates. The gold and silver markets are experiencing critical evolution. Yeah, I know some of you saying, but gold and silver dipped down. Ha! Yep, that's the hands. That's the hands that with it's the shaky hands that are selling off right before they go back up. This is all financial dynamics. And when you understand, you get better clarity on the currencies and what is to come. There are positive supply shocks Goldilocks is sharing that enhance an economy's competitiveness. Gold and silver and other precious metals backing currencies. It allows folks for those currencies to begin to move up in value because just like in Iraq and their stability report, to stabilize the DINAR, countries are stabilizing their currencies backed by gold. Overall, Goldilocks is stating the supply of gold related to currency dynamics. It actually resolves the bottlenecks that has prevented currency rates to move up before. Everything we are witnessing in not only mainstream media related to global finance, but also within the corridors and the borders of Iraq, is all connected. See, the result Goldilocks is showing is that there will be investors such as us that'll be able to revalue our currencies, to benefit from the revaluation of currencies going higher. The dynamics and the inner workings of what's happening in the global markets often may seem confusing, often may seem very technical. They may seem detailed. We do our best to bring it to you in layman's terms so that you have the ability to be rest assured to know that you are in the right place at the right time with your investment. There's no need to, and I don't want to tell you how to feel. I just would like for you to know that everything is going to be all right. I know there's a lot of chatter out in mainstream, but just know all you have to do if you want to know information directly, the source, Central Bank of Iraq, the source, International Monetary Fund, the source, the World Bank, the source, U.S. Treasury, and if you need interpretation, you have Goldilocks. Folks, be well, be kind. We be in love. Ciao. Take care.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.